announcing that I'm a candidate for District 66 for the Wisconsin State Assembly. I'm standing here in front of the Kenosha engine plant, and you know, it's important that I'm standing here today. This plant was opened in 1917. It's been here 93 years. And about a year ago, a number of leaders in this community were at the UAW hall on Washington. Elected officials, including the mayor, Bob Wirtz, Peter Barca, other representatives. Letters were written by Congressman Paul Ryan, but it was interesting that there were some people who were not there, including Samantha Kirkman, state representative for District 66. Now I know that this plant is not in District 66, but that's not important. What's important is that this plant represents an important part of the economy of Kenosha County and Racine County, and it has played an important part. My campaign is going to be about jobs, the importance of jobs, and the elements of keeping the jobs we already have in this area, bringing new jobs, and for our citizens who have lost jobs or perhaps about to lose jobs, to find ways to help them in getting a better education. There's a current bill that's already passed the state senate. It's the Wisconsin Core Jobs Bill, and that's passed that bill passed with a nonpartisan voting by both Republicans and Democrats, and it's now wending its way through the Assembly. I find it disturbing that Mrs. Kirkman has not said anything at all about this bill. And it's a very important bill because it will bring jobs to all of Wisconsin, and in particular to Kenosha County. Right now, the unemployment rate in the state of Wisconsin is at 11.3%. I'm sorry, the employment rate in the state is at 8.7%, and in Kenosha County it's higher. It's at almost 11%. So when we talk about jobs, we're talking about jobs today, because that's what hurts people. And her record has clearly not been for people, whether it be things related to jobs or health care or for senior citizens or for children. So my campaign is going to be talking about jobs and about other issues. So that's why I'm running for this.
You were a Republican in this race a few years ago. What's changed since then?
You know, I've been a Democrat all my life. A few years ago, I was approached by the Republican Party to consider running against Bob Wirtz. I thought about it. I was flattered by it. But after thinking about it and after looking at the position of the Republican Party, I made the decision, and I realized that that's not who I am. And I told the Republican Party a word that they know well, and that word was no, that I was not interested in doing that, and that's why I didn't do it.
Steve, what about the obstacles of getting elected as a Democrat in this district? It hasn't had a Democratic representative for over 20-some years.
Or longer, longer.
At least 20-some years.
Yeah. District 66 is about 45% Democratic. And I think that surprises a lot of people. It even surprised someone at the state level when I talked about it with them. I think when we look at the issues, when people hear about Mrs. Kirkman's voting record, this seat is not a Republican seat, nor is it Mrs. Kirkman's seat, and it certainly was not Cloyd Porter's seat. It's the people's seat, and that's what this is all about. We're going to talk about the issues. We're going to talk about the issues, and in particular, her voting record. And there are things that she has voted for over the last several years that I believe will surprise a great deal of people. And this is not about Samantha Kirkman. It's not about Steve Brown, about either of us as a person, but it's about her voting record. And as an incumbent, she has a record, and that's what this is going to be about.
Will we be expecting to see a visible campaign out of here? We can see you.
Absolutely. We are going to run a very visible and a very aggressive campaign. We are going to take this campaign right to Mrs. Kirkman, right into her areas of strength. We started today in Burlington. Burlington, just like any other place, whether it be Burlington or Somers or Trevor or Randall or Twin Lakes or Salem or Paddock Lake, we are going to go into all these communities, knocking on doors, talking to people, and making sure that everyone hears our message. And Burlington is a key place in this campaign, and a lot of times Democrats ignore that area. But we're going to make sure that people in District 66 hear about all these areas, and in particular her voting record, and that's what this is all about.
Steve, you said your campaign's going to be about jobs, jobs, jobs.
Right.
What? Tell me how you propose to make a difference in that area.
We're going to make a difference. Well, I mentioned the Wisconsin Core Jobs Bill, and I think that's a start. And I think if you read through all the elements of that bill, it looks at ways of bringing new jobs into the area. All the research shows, Darren, that the kinds of jobs the kinds of businesses that bring jobs are the small to medium-sized jobs. And across the country, those are the types of jobs that employ anywhere from 10 to 40 or 50 employees. And those are the jobs that bring growth into an area. So I think that incentives, whether those are tax incentives and things that are being done to bring those jobs into the area, I think those are the kinds of things that we support. And again, I strongly support this bill. And it really concerns me that Mrs. Kirkman has said nothing about this bill. And yeah, it was introduced by the Senate Democrats, but the endorsement by Republicans in the state Senate shows that people across the state in the legislature who are Republicans and Democrats support it. This is not a Republican or a Democratic bill. The issue of jobs is something that helps all the people in the state of Wisconsin. In closing, let me just say this. Sure. My own background, having been a classroom teacher, having been a school principal, a college teacher, I work part-time at Gateway Technical College, at WGTD Public Radio. I've owned a small business. I've had to meet payroll. I am not a professional politician, but I'm someone who understands, I think, the needs of our community. I lived in the community for 8 years. This community is important to me, and I believe that I can make a difference. We have a lot of serious problems facing everyone in this area, and I believe that we need serious people who can represent this area in the assembly, and that's what I want to do.